Hi everybody. So I'm here to do Disney Monday, and today I've decided I'm going to try to do it with Yuki, and I've got her on this fuzzy sock monkey blanket from her auntie Nicole. And I'm going to try to put her in this other Disney dress that I have. It's very similar to the one that I put Savannah in last week. I think it was last week that I did, or maybe it was the week prior. But yeah, I think it was 2 weeks ago I did Savannah. And she's still wearing her Bambi dress. But I also got this one from Krystle, and it's got Mickey Mouse and it's red. I was originally like thinking of holding on to it for like December because I thought it looked very Christmassy in the colors, but I thought, I'll try it. It might be a little short on Yuki, I'm not sure. So we'll just have to see what it turns out like. But as I'm changing her, I wanted to talk about something that upset me last week. And you know, I would say for the most part, I have grown a pretty thick skin being a YouTuber, and you pretty much have to, because you're putting yourself out there, and you guys know how it is. There's trolls, they say awful things. And if you do not have a thick skin, you will not, YouTube is not for you, because you will just cave and be crushed by these trolls' comments and what have you. So for the most part, I have grown a thick skin. I have learned to just, a lot of the times I just laugh the comments off. Any negative ones that I get, or if there's any vulgar, dirty comments that people leave, I just delete and block and move on. But, you know, there are still times where comments do upset me and rattle me. I'm not gonna lie, because we are all human. And we all have feelings, and sometimes, you know, if you're already going through something hard, or if you're already in a bad mood, and then you get that comment, that one nasty comment, it just crushes you, you know. And I try not to let comments ruin my day or anything like that, but there have been a few over the years that the comments will stay with me for quite a few days and really hurt me deep down. It's just how it is. But there was something that happened in regards to me selling Ava. And honestly, I think this is the first time I've ever received flack for selling some of my collection. You know, I am not one to sell very often from my collection. You know, for the longest time, I had dolls in my collections for years and years before I decided to sell some, which that was my Ashton Drake dolls that I sold a couple years ago. And then I sold, my Noe, who was named Jamie, those ones, you know, and I had those dolls for years, I mean years, before I decided to part with them. And it was a very hard decision to part with them. Oh, and I also parted with the very first Reborn doll that I ever bought, which was Avery. I parted with her, I think it was last year or the year before. And believe me, like, these are hard decisions to make, because even the dolls that I don't interact with a lot, I still form attachments to them, even if I don't play with them as much or whatever. Like, I get very sentimental with things and attached to things, not just my dolls, but just things in general. And I have a very hard time deciding what to keep, what to let go. But I've learned over the years that, you know, I cannot keep everything all the time. I only have so much space in this little basement apartment to work with. And, you know, I do what I have to do. And, you know, as we grow in the hobby, our tastes change. And, you know, eventually we may want something new and different. And if there's no space for it, then I have to make space by selling. And so, I mean, like I said, I'm not one to buy and sell a lot. I usually buy planning to keep that baby forever. But, like I said, people change, people grow, tastes change, and, you know, situations change. Sometimes you may just need money, not even money for a new doll. You might just need money. And that's that. Well, all this to say, I first had a comment on Ava's final video that I made saying goodbye to her. And this person, I don't know if it was a child or a grown adult, but this person basically said, bad idea. That's a bad idea to sell Ava. Oh yeah, this dress is a lot. It's short. It's pretty short. I think it probably would have fit Savannah a lot better. Oh goodness, Yuki, you're showing off your... At least she's covered. This person was like, it was a bad idea for you to sell Ava. What were you thinking? And basically told me, you know, if I need money, get money elsewhere. And I'm thinking, you know, if it was that case, sometimes I know lots of people have had hard financial times in their lives, and they work, they have a job, but they are not making enough at work or whatever. You can't just pull money off of a tree. It doesn't grow on trees. And so you have to make the decision to sell some of your belongings to get the money that you need. You know, these dolls are just collectibles. They are not real babies. And, you know, financial issues for, you know, our home, our bills, that always will come first. And so, yes, you know, if I was ever if we were ever in need of extra finances that we did not have, I would have to make the decision to sell some of my collection, as hard as that may be, because right now my collection, I'm content with every single baby in my collection now. I love every single baby that I have. I cannot even imagine having to part with any of them because I love them all dearly. But if it boiled down to it and we were in dire need of money that just wasn't anywhere else, I would have to sell. It would be hard. It would break my heart, but sometimes it has to be done. My father, at one point in his life, he ran into financial problems and he had to sell his most prized guitar. And it killed him to do it, but he had to do it because it's the only way he could get that money. So those kinds of things come first. It's the mature and the adult thing to do. Now, however, in my case, it wasn't really about money. Money was part of it because I I needed to pay for the 2 new babies that I adopted from Cynthia's collection and things like that. And then also we have some trips coming up that I could use the money for and things like that. But it mainly had to do with space being the main issue and not wanting to be overwhelmed with my collection, which I pretty well explained. I pretty much explained that. Like, I made the decision to sell a few babies because I was starting to feel overwhelmed. And I did not want to feel overwhelmed. And not even just for the fact, like, I mean, I know that some of my dolls are display only and I don't really interact with them. But I still need to upkeep them. I have to dust them. I have to clean them. And the larger the collection I have, the more work it is to keep everything clean and neat and tidy. And when you have an illness, when you're chronically ill and you have very limited energy, it is very difficult to do all that extra cleaning that you can make it lessened by having a smaller collection. I mean, I still say I have a pretty big collection, but I just felt like letting go of a few babies would help. It would help. So, because I didn't want to just bring in, 2 and 3 new babies to add to the one, it would just make it bigger. So now I guess I'm basically back at the same number of dolls with these 2, because I sold 2 and got these 2. And then I sold my old Maisie to get the new Maisie. So it's pretty much evened out, but at least it didn't add to what I already had. And that's just how I just needed to do that for my own sanity and my health. But this person went on and on about saying, big mistake, you're going to end up regretting selling Ava and you're going to want her back, and oh, find your money elsewhere. I never sell my dolls. I give them to family members. Money isn't everything. And, like I said, again, this was not mainly just due to money, but I also cannot afford to just give away my dolls. And as for giving my dolls away to family members, my family does not like dolls. Like, I mean, they support my hobby. They think they're cute, but they do not have any desire to own them. So for me to say, here, take my doll because I want it off my hands, they're not going to want it. It doesn't matter if it's free. They're not going to want it. It'll just be a dust collector for them. So I would rather adopt it out to someone who will love them, who really appreciates them, and I can't afford to just give them away. We are on a tight budget, a tight income, because, like I've said before, because of my health, I cannot work full time. So we have lost half of an income. And so we have to be careful with our money. And like I said, we have a couple of little trips. Like, one is a day trip. I told you guys we're going to be going to Buffalo for the day and doing some shopping. So I'm going to need money for that. And also we've got the London Doll Show coming up, which we're staying at a hotel again. So I'm going to need money for that. So I needed to have the money. And like I said, this past Christmas, we went a little over budget. And so I was pretty much broke after Christmas. So if I wanted to have spending money for these upcoming trips, I had to sell, basically. There's no way I could give it away for free. I did, however, like you saw, I gave away Holly, and that is because she was given to me as a gift from Kristen. And I just personally myself, my ethics is that I would not feel right selling a doll that was gifted to me. I feel like if someone was kind enough to gift me a doll, then I need to pay that forward and give away the doll to someone else for free. You know, Alex was kind of like bugging me about it, saying, oh, you know, we could use the money. Why don't you sell her? And he's saying the same thing about Blessing. He's saying the same thing about Cordelia Blessing, my silicone that was gifted to me. And I said, no. I said, I cannot, that is just not who I am. I would not feel right. I would feel awful selling a doll that someone has gifted to me. I want to pay it forward and gift it to someone else. And so that's what I did. That's how Holly's with Stephanie. I gave it to her completely free. Did not sell that doll because, just in my opinion, ethically, I just would not feel comfortable selling a doll that someone took the time to gift to me. And like I said, I discussed it with Kristen beforehand, and she gave me her blessing. She's like, I totally understand that you're feeling overwhelmed with your collection. Like, I made her, like, I loved Holly. I really did. Like, I would sit and cuddle with her and stuff, but like I said, I needed to make my collection smaller, and that's why Cordelia Blessing, she is going to be going to a new mommy. I've decided who. It's just figuring out the logistics of getting her to her, which I don't think is going to happen for probably until spring. I would say like in another month or two. So she'll be here for a little while longer, but she will be going to someone, and I again am paying it forward and gifting her. Like I said, Alex kept going, oh my gosh, like, but you could get so much money if you sold her. And I'm like, I don't care. I'm like, I don't feel right. I would not be able to live with myself if I sold a doll that someone gifted to me. It's just not who I am. I would like to bless someone else, just like Compassion blessed me. She gave me the chance to experience a silicone free of charge, because that was my biggest fear, is that I didn't want to invest money in buying a silicone that I wasn't 100% sure would be for me, because that is a lot of money to first off save up to get a silicone, and then if I get it and find it's not for me and I've wasted like thousands of dollars. So she allowed me to experience owning a silicone doll free of charge, and I am so blessed for that. I'm so happy for that experience, because I really, like I said, I've had her for a few months now, and I have played with her on and off, but I have discovered silicone is not for me. It's too heavy. Everything sticks to it, especially with a cat around. Everything sticks to it. I feel very nervous when I'm changing it. Like, I keep thinking I'm gonna rip it or break something. I don't like that. I like that when I change my Reborns, I don't feel nervous at all changing them. It's just, I can just do it, and I don't feel like I'm worried about ruining anything. So she blessed me with the chance to experience that. And I have another person in mind that I know very much wants to be a mommy to a silicone doll. We've met a couple times, and I really feel this person is gonna love this baby. So I cannot wait to give it to her. I'm just waiting to give it to her in person. And so that's why, because of where she lives, it's going to take a while for us to get together. But when we do, that's when Cordelia Blessing will go. But continuing on with this comment, then after that, after she left that comment, she then came and left a comment on Claire's box opening, which I have Claire over here. She can hang out with Yuki for a second. I don't know if you guys can see them together. There they are. She commented on my box opening of Claire, and it was a really rude comment. She said, "Really? Really? I like Ava better." And usually, like I said in previous, like usually I'm used to troll comments. I'm used to nasty comments. But I had just received this doll that, yes, I know that the neonates do not look as realistic as reborns. They don't. They're pretty much a plain unpainted vinyl. They have a little color in their face, their lips. They have the eyebrows painted, the hair painted, the eyelashes glued on. They don't have nail tips or all that stuff. They're just a basic doll. They're full vinyl. They're not really cuddly. They're pretty stiff. I know that they are not the most realistic doll. And I know that I much prefer my Reborn dolls over these dolls. But this doll has such sentimental value that I don't care. Like, I love her because Cynthia loved her so much. And this is like a miracle that we were able to find her babies and bring them home to her doll friends' homes 18 months after she passed away. It's a miracle. You guys know, you've heard the story. And so when I read that comment, it was like such a low blow. It really was. And I actually commented back because, and I usually don't entertain people like that, but I just had to say something. And I don't remember exactly what I said, but I pretty much just said to her, you know, I do not regret selling Ava. I literally had thought for almost a full year before deciding to sell Ava. That's how long it takes me to decide who I'm, like, I really put a lot of thought into it, and I really felt I was sure, I was ready. And once she was boxed up and shipped off, honestly, other than keeping a tabs on her tracking, I haven't even given her a second thought. I just knew that the decision was right. And I told her that it was incredibly rude and offensive of her to come on this video, that I'm receiving this sentimental doll from my deceased friend. And I said, your comment is incredibly rude and hurtful. And if you continue to post things of this nature, you will be blocked. She came and, you know, and I said, these are just dolls. They are not real. And, you know, buying and selling is often part of collecting. Well, she came back again saying, I know that they're just dolls, but she goes, you know, I could never sell any of my dolls. I don't know how you can do that. I prefer to give my dolls away, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, she said, Ava was one of my favorite babies of yours, and this and that. And it's like, you know what? I know other people have experienced this when they've sold dolls on their channel. And I just have to say to any people out there that have something to say about it, guess what? It's not your collection. It is not up to you what a person decides to do with their collection. We are all doll lovers. We are all doll collectors. But there is no rule book on how we collect, on what we should collect and what we shouldn't collect, on what we should sell and what we shouldn't sell. That is each individual person's decisions, preferences. So I just don't understand these people that are apparently in the same hobby, but they still slam each other for the decisions that they make with their hobby. Guess what? There's no rules. There are no rules on how to doll collect. Everyone should do them. Collect the way that works for you and makes you happy. And I just was so upset by her comment. It really did bother me because, especially due to the nature of the video, it was an emotional box opening for me. And she then proceeded to say, your grief has been too much for me to handle, so I have been watching your other friend's channel. And I was like, really? I only teared up a little bit in her box opening. The other videos I've made about Cynthia's dolls, I pretty much have just, I kept it together and I pretty much just told the story because it's an incredible story. So I just want to say to anyone out there, like, there are no rules for doll collecting. There's no rules. And yeah. And just, guys, be, you know, like, I told her that her comment on my video speaks volumes about the type of person she is, which is true. You're going to go and slam someone on a box opening of a very special doll that has incredible sentimental value, that is a memorial baby for your good dear friend that passed away. That tells me a lot about the kind of person you are, and I don't like that kind of person. I would not want to associate with that kind of person in real life. So anyways, guys, that's my rant. I just had to speak up about it because it really was disgusting what this person did. And then after I wrote that about speaking volumes about who she is, she then went and deleted all of that thread. She deleted it herself because I was going to delete it and block her, and then she deleted it. So I maybe got through to her in that, look at, you're acting ridiculous. I would hope, but who knows. But anyways, guys, enough of that ranting. Let's move on to something nicer, more pleasant. And that is Miss Yuki here, all ready for Disney Monday in her little dress. She looks super cute. I think one thing I wanted to do that I didn't, where did I put her brush? I wanted to just kind of fluff her hair. Well, her hair's still kind of wet, but I kind of like to fluff her hair a bit so it's like sticking up a little. It's not really working because it's still kind of wet. I'll have to wait until it totally dries and then I can fluff it up. But there she is, and sorry that this video wasn't more happy and upbeat. I just, you know, I really needed to get that off my chest because it just, oh, it really was a very hurtful thing for someone within our community to do. There she is. Look at this. It's like got little sparkles and stuff. But yeah, I just feel like sometimes there's good things about the internet and sometimes there's not so good things. Like, without the internet, I wouldn't be able to make these videos and I wouldn't be able to meet such wonderful ladies that are in the community, some of them whom I've become wonderful friends with. I would never have them in my life if it wasn't for the internet, and so therefore there is a lot of positive things from it. But I also find the internet and social media has also been a curse as well to society. I really do. It's made it okay for people to criticize people and bully people. You know, like, I often think a lot of these trolls that leave these disgustingly nasty comments on people's videos, because some of them are downright vulgar in their language. These kind of people, I often think to myself, would they say those things in person? You know what I mean? Like, if they saw you in person, face to face, would they say those things? I don't think they would. I don't think they would. I think the internet has almost given like this pass that's okay to say these things because you're hidden behind a screen. So your face isn't seen. And also you cannot see the person that you're bullying. So you cannot see the repercussions of your words. You cannot see the hurt on the person's face. You cannot see the tears, because I will be honest, there have been comments in the past that have actually made me cry. But I also do not want them to win and run me off of what I love to do, which is make videos. So I keep on keeping on. I just go through it. But there have been times where comments have made me cry. Now, if a person saw that, you know what I mean? Like, but they can't. They're hiding behind a screen. So my philosophy is the people that bully and say these kind of things, they're cowards. Really and truly. Just some food for thought there. But yeah, I just feel like sometimes the internet, it's a blessing and a curse. Because I also feel like while it brings people together, it also tears people apart. You know, I mean, so often I see groups of friends from high school friends on a bus, and they're all in their phone. They're not talking to each other like how my friends and I, we never had phones in high school. We had to actually communicate verbally with each other. And go out and do things. And I think the internet has changed a lot of things in good ways and in bad ways. So anyways, there's little Miss Yuki. My Yuki Baduki. She's just so cute. I love her little rosy nose. And this dress, it's short. It's short on her, but it's all right. Say, it's all right, Mama. It's okay. I'm at home hanging out with you. All right, I'm going to wrap up this video because it's probably super long already. So we will see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.